Hi, I'm Jordan James, and this is Good Deeds Buffalo. You might be thinking things are a little bit different because we're not in this studio. Well, because of the Buffalo blizzard, we're all snowed in. But it felt it was my duty to try and share some stories of hope and kindness that kept the City of Good Neighbors going through this event. We'll hear in the next half hour from people who stepped up to make a change in their community and helped in ways that they could, even from afar. On Good Deeds Buffalo, the Western New York community will nominate someone for their good deed. This person would be involved in the community and often are a beacon of hope and kindness. And by merit, I will select someone to showcase and thank. Next up, Ariella Sharf joins us from Aruba. She's originally from Western New York. Learn how herself and her mother work tirelessly to get food to those at Buffalo General, healthcare workers, employees, even patients in need of food. And learn about the driver who delivered it all. Then, learn how I got involved and helped them get food delivered to Children's Oishei Hospital. Ariella, I'm glad that we had this time to catch up and talk today. Can you first, you had played a vital part in starting, I would say, a chain of kindness here in Buffalo. But right now, you're actually not in Buffalo. You're out of the area. Where are you now?
So I live in Los Angeles, but right now I am currently in Aruba, which was supposed to be my family vacation, but obviously my parents and my brother are in Buffalo.
So they're here, and we're talking about the Buffalo blizzard that hit Buffalo, and it was unprecedented. I would say a once in a lifetime event. Can you tell me about your incredible act of kindness?
Yeah, so I'll start from the beginning of hearing about this storm. Obviously, my family was kind of getting ready to go on our family trip that we take every year, and Thursday afternoon came, and I believe that's when it was a category 3 hurricane wind warning. I knew there would be at least one Facebook group that someone in Buffalo had made that people could connect and try and help out each other in any way they could. And I was closely following it, and the stories were just breaking my heart. People who were stranded in their cars with a cell phone that was about to die, no food, running out of gas, and they they were just expressing that they felt like they were going to die in those moments. And unfortunately, when it got to the point where someone had said in the group, you can listen to the police scanner to get updates, when I had gotten on there and they were starting to announce DOAs, that's when I kicked into overdrive, and I was constantly refreshing that Facebook feed and listen to the police scanner and just see if I could put two and two together for maybe someone who was looking for someone.
You ended up ordering food for people at Buffalo General Hospital that were stranded and workers who were working extra long hours. Can you tell me about how that formed and who was involved?
I messaged my mom and I said, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, what this is going to turn into, but I know that Buffalo General is running out of food. I've gotten in touch with someone who's working there, and there are a bunch of other people who are willing to donate to pitch in to order from Just Pizza. Just Pizza is open, they're not delivering. We need to find someone who's willing to deliver. She said, on it. I said, you're just going to have to be in charge of coordinating everything on the ground. It was like we had this whole operation going all of a sudden. The next thing I did was try and find someone who was able to actually go and pick up the order and then take it to Buffalo General. So I had posted saying, if you have a large commercial vehicle or even a snowmobile, let me know. And a few people had reached out to me. One of them, his name was Brandon, had mentioned that he needed to get to his grandparents' house, I think earlier in the day or the day before. He knows that his car is fine in the snow and he lives nearby. He was more than happy to offer to go pick it up.
Wow.
And obviously, I said, are you sure? Probably about 3 times, if not more.
You really understood that Brandon was taking a risk to do that. And I'm glad that you triple checked. And we're thankful that Brandon did deliver that food. And I know we are all very thankful that Brandon made it there and back safely.
he was able to deliver, I want to say, 20 plus pizzas that we were
Wow.
that we were able to order with donations from obviously complete strangers. And Just Pizza kindly donated a generous amount of pizzas themselves to the order. I asked him to send me a picture afterwards with all the pizzas. Just I wanted to make sure that first of all he was safe and everything was fine, but I also just wanted to recognize him for what he was doing because I'm sure to him it didn't seem like such a big deal, but to everyone in that hospital and everyone that was able to get a slice of pizza after not having any food for, at that point, 17 hours, they
Hmm.
needed to know, this person brought this food for you.
My show is about good things, and sometimes it gets difficult to report on tragic situations, but when there's so much good in it, it keeps you going, you know. It's definitely sad to hear about all the lives that we've lost, and it's beyond tragic for Western New York. Do you think that social media had a huge role to play in the response in this effort?
I posted on my social media, and within the few hours that I was on the airplane, I was able to raise, at that point, over $1,000. I'd say at this point, with people still wanting to donate, well over $2,000. My mom also was able to connect with you, and that is how we continued our efforts to then find another place that was able to deliver food to Oishei Children's Hospital.
The little bakery popped up and took our order. Your mom called again. She's the phone person.
Exactly. My mom had told me that she called and they were almost arguing with her that there was no way that they were going to take any money from her in order to get food to people who needed food. It's so beyond me how at times like these, people are just so willing to help and do literally anything they can. And I know that people really appreciate knowing exactly how they are helping when they're doing something such as donating money. So I have responded to a few people who wanted to donate before we had the second effort in line. And I said, once we find where your money's going, I'll let you know. So I've messaged saying, you donated this much, you bought this many pizzas, which probably was able to feed this many people. Like you literally saved lives without knowing it or without thinking
Yeah.
you were even able to.
You know, it's been a pleasure talking with you today and getting to know more about your act of kindness. I want to honorably mention Michelle, your mom, who pitched in her efforts, and Brandon, the driver who drove the food, your first order to Buffalo General Hospital, the little bakery. You know, if you folks are watching now this interview, give them a call. They are one of many businesses that stepped up to help our community, and we need to remember them as we move forward. And we'll be back to continue Good Deeds Buffalo right after this. Make sure to follow us on all of the latest social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Welcome back to Good Deeds Buffalo. I just wanted to take a moment as we remember the lives lost in the blizzard of 2022. This storm affected many in many different ways, and I want people to understand that this episode is meant to encourage hope and kindness as we move forward and heal. Thank you for the opportunity to share these stories with you. Remember, we're the city of good neighbors. Abby, Danny, and Angel actually created a trio in which Abby was the dispatcher and Angel was the passenger helping navigate with Danny. They helped deliver resources, goods, even saved people's lives. So let's first ask who came up with the idea, and they could speak first.
I mean, basically, I'm always the one that always willing to help, and I have a truck and all that. So with that, me being able to go through anything, first I started off with just me leaving the house, and I asked, Angel, like, you want to go out and help people? And basically, it kind of took me like maybe like 2.5 hours,
3 hours,
3 hours just to get to him from Seneca to
like Jefferson and Dope. What's that? Dodge. Like Jefferson to Dodge from Seneca took like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, just to get to him. But then once I got to him, we started working.
And the
Yeah.
foot and it's crazy because right when he got here, there was an older guy like in his late 50s crawling in front of my house, and Danny almost like he didn't see him, so I had to stop, and that was the first one we saved that day. Like right there, we grabbed him, and he only lived 2 blocks down. He was frozen, like I think he had like even frostbite from him crawling on the floor. And that was the
Wow.
first one we saved that day. The first one out of many that Friday.
That is emotional to hear. I'm getting the chills. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It turned into a snowball effect, and I don't mean that with any pun. You know, you selflessly help save someone's life, and it gave you the strength to keep going. Now, Abby, you played a vital role in this, being the dispatcher. So you were able to take messages from people and help get them the correct help?
So the way it worked, I actually have a pretty big platform. I do many things in the city. So I was using my platform to basically send out messages to people who were out there helping with the hopes that somebody would help. And then we actually know each other. We're actually friends. And I didn't know they were doing that till they reached out to me and they were like, hey, you have anybody else? I'm like, yes, I have somebody on Lisbon who just gave birth. And that's where it all started, where we just like, okay, well, we're gonna do this trio thing and just save Buffalo.
So, Abby, you mentioned a story in which they helped save a child. Angel, can you tell me a little bit about how that all unfolded?
Abby and then my wife too. They was saying that there was a family that just gave birth to a beautiful baby, healthy baby at like Christmas Eve around like 3 o'clock. But that night they was texting and they was like, "We're willing to meet you at the corner or wherever we have to go." Determined to get out. So then we head that way. And remember, this was Christmas Day at around 3 something in the morning. So like most of the roads is still covered of mad snow. And thank God that when we was coming down what was it, Kensington, the plow was cleaning, but he ain't clean Edgar. I don't Edgar Street going towards Lisbon. We parked on Westbury Edgar, and then we had to walk to Lisbon. So that was 3 blocks, almost 3 blocks and a half through mad snow. We got there, and the family was waiting for us. They was getting ready. We wrapped the baby up in aluminum foil that
Yes.
Abby and my wife said. I was on the phone with my wife, and my wife was, I was going through the process. She was like, make sure y'all wrap the baby through aluminum foil. Make sure y'all use a lot of blankets. Boom, boom.
Wow.
Then when we started getting ready, my brother here, he grabbed the baby in the car seat, put it over his head. He kept going nonstop. The father grabbed the bags, and I was helping the mother going through the snow. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, breathing with her. Go ahead, take your time. 1, 2, 3 through the snow. Like just getting through it. It was a mission, but it was worth it, man. I even dropped a tear.
Yeah, as much as it was tiring, I just have to keep on going to get the baby to the car.
That's legitimately a Christmas miracle. The fact the baby was born at home, okay and healthy, and that you guys were able to help get the baby to safety. I'm getting emotional talking about this, Daniel, or Danny rather, and I could only imagine this. This has to be emotional for you, being the driver
Yeah.
and a part of the trio here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. It was just a great moment that we could do all this.
And then
Wow.
I gave it to him. He's a driver, man. Like not a lot of people could drive through snows and conditions like that. And I tell you, man, this man right here in his truck, man, we was going through everywhere, man. Like there wasn't nowhere that we couldn't get to. That if somebody needed us, we would have got there, man. Like I give him a pat on his back, man.
We tried our best to just get to everybody. And like I said, it's only me and him and Abby. And for
Wow.
us, I mean, it still hurts that we couldn't get to a lot of people, but we try to get to as much as we can.
Again, it's an honor to be able to speak with you guys.
Appreciate it.
In another way that I heard about what you guys have done is not only were you out there saving people and getting them from their homes to secure locations, you were actually taking resources back out to those in need, like baby food and things like that. Abby, can you tell us about the resources that you provided?
Again, I use my platform for many of our resources. We did get I'm gonna say a good amount of donations or perhaps trade-ins. Like we'll meet up with the girls and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, I need size 6 diapers. Here I have 6 cans of milk that I don't need." Or for the most part, we did use our own funds to provide everything that we gave out to these people, not expecting anything in return, absolutely. And yeah, we just made sure that we made statuses maybe like probably every 2 minutes just to make sure that we update on everything that we need.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway from this experience for you? I'll ask you, Angel, first to go, but explain to me how this experience and what it's taught you.
I have a big family myself, you know what I mean? And if I was in that situation that somebody and I needed somebody to come, save me and my family, I would really be appreciated. So like the urge of me of just trying to keep being out there was really just for, like for my family, just to, like I'm just that type of person, like I got a big heart. I like helping, you know what I mean? So to see the people, like the tears and the happiness, like you hear them thank yous, but them thank yous is like from the bottom of their heart, like inside of them, that we saved them and we could be able to take them somewhere, like that means a lot to me, and I'm always gonna remember that, man. Like this blizzard of 2022, I'm always gonna remember all the people that we helped and stuff like that.
I think you said it perfectly. You did it because you have this huge heart and you were hoping and you knew that if you did it, somebody else might be willing to do it for you. And it's such a rewarding feeling, right? To know that you did your best and, that's what you did. Danny, can you share, what this really taught you?
The same way he feels,
Yeah.
It's just everything is just emotional,
Totally understand. And, while we're on the topic of emotional, let's not forget those who lost their lives. And there's plenty of people who, like you, went out of their way to help save people. And those too deserve a thank you. Abby, before we go and we wrap up the conversation here, is there anything that you want to share with the Buffalo community?
What I would like to share with the community is that we need to be more positive, show more love, respect each other, understand that we're all in this together. Although we might be in different parts of the city, we are literally in this together. And if you can help, help.
Well, thank you guys again for your time. And we'll be right back after this message. We are here with Christian, Kyrstin, Andrew, and Julie, who came together and I would say are now friends through the new year. Christian and Kyrstin came along the road where I believe Andrew and Julie were stranded. Andrew, can you tell us what happened and why you were stranded in the blizzard?
I had surgery that was scheduled for December 23rd. I was released from ECMC at about 11 o'clock on December 23rd. And Julie, being my wife and my driver, drove down the 33. I estimate about 5 miles, and we were rear-ended on Harlem, which blew out the back window, showered me with glass. I was dressed in shorts from having surgery. I was worried about how we would get a pair of pants over my cast. And Julie got stuck in the snow. She got out of the car to try and clear the windshield, and the windshield wiper was broken. I literally had a cardboard box on my head to keep warm because the back window was gone.
Wow.
And right then and there, I really thought we were goners. And I heard this voice saying, "We're taking you to our house," which was Kyrstin. Kyrstin was driving by, and I don't know what possessed Kyrstin to help us, because you couldn't see your hands in front of your face. And
Yeah.
Kyrstin says she saw Julie's blue eyes. And the rest is history. She pulled me out of the car, Julie out of the car, and took us to her apartment, and we lived there for 3.5 days.
Wow. So, Kyrstin, what was it that made you, and Christian, I mean, what made you guys stop the vehicle and help?
It's just, I guess it's just the right thing to do, especially in conditions like that. You really don't want to see, and we've seen so many people that have passed from the storm.
She stopped. I mean, she was really, really
Yeah, she's the reason.
profoundly affected by it.
We had already seen so many people struggling, had to push people out of ruts in the Walmart parking lot just to try to get home before we even ran into them. And it's truthfully, it was just the magnitude of realizing, yeah, this storm is something bigger than we could even have imagined. And Buffalo, we're pretty strong, but Mother Nature is stronger. And I didn't know what was possible of happening. So we got onto Union. I saw Julie frantically she had this clear bag and she just kept putting things in it and just like looking like she just had no idea what was going on. And I clearly saw the back window was blown out. So it wasn't like a situation like, oh, they'll figure it out. You just stopped. What's going on? And she just looked at me and she didn't have words at first. And really, yeah, at the end of the day, it wasn't like a what made me do it. It was just that was what was supposed to be done. And then we sat at home and we had conversations, and Andy is twice my senior, but we learned that we shared a loss of our mother the same month in the same year, just like very ironic coincidences. And then even further, Andy and Julie got married last year and their wedding anniversary is my birthday.
Oh, wow.
So just,
Julie, you were driving. What does it mean to you in that moment? You probably felt like help might not come. What did it feel to see Kyrstin come and to help in that moment?
It was like seeing an angel, because I, at that point, had no idea what I was going to do. I had my husband in the back seat in a cast. There's no way I could carry him. The weather was just getting worse and worse. And Kyrstin opened up her door and says, "You're coming home with me." And I'm like, "I don't even know you." And she's like, "I don't care, come on." And then the rest is history. I mean, she just put us in there and kept us safe, and thank God for her every day.
Emotional to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot
We
of people
tried
were
to
affected
talk
with this
about it. It's
storm.
weird. We just met each other. And Julie and I went out and got them a card. And I wrote on the card, no words, just thank you. Because when you spend 4 days in a lifeboat together, there are no words. They saved our life.
and that, like, I don't even like to look at it that way, because I hope to think that somebody else would have come along and done the same thing. It's not like an act of heroism.
Kyrstin's a force to be reckoned with. She ran outside, flagged down a plow driver to plow out the driveway. And I don't know how she did it, but she did it. And we got home, Jordan. I don't even know how we got home. We were concerned. I mean, once we were through the storm, then the question of having 5 feet of snow out front and how we were going to get out, it was just,
Yeah.
And our 2 boys were home alone on Christmas.
yeah. So
That was the hardest part, was watching Julie have to, she didn't want to make us feel like she wasn't thankful for being in our home, but at the same time, she's crying silently on the couch, missing her boys. And I mean, you think of an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old, and you're like, they can take care of themselves. They have jobs, but no, like, this was the first time they had to experience something.
It was
like
Christmas.
this.
Jordan, the whole thing is that this was a different light on Christmas. Everybody's running around to try and get last minute stuff for their loved ones, myself included. I was rushing around to get things done. Julie's rushing around to get things done. We don't expect a Christmas like this. This was a chance opportunity to literally stop and really, really appreciate Christmas for what Christmas is supposed to be. we stood around, you know, when we finally cooked a meal together. Remember, we've been best friends now for 100 years, it feels like. And we sat around the dinner table and held hands and said grace. And I said right when we were talking, you know, you have all different denominations of religion. And if you say the wrong thing, people are suing you. Well, I think everybody acknowledges it's 2023, right? Well, 2023, what does that mean? And think about it, because it means 2023 years since Jesus Christ died. And I'm not allowed to say that on radio anymore because I'm going to offend some people. But guess what? Even the Chinese acknowledge that it's 2023. And 2023 is 23 years since Christ died. And the whole idea of Christmas. My point is that I was just doing what everybody else was doing, was running around, trying to get everything done. And when we got stopped, I was in the hospital. I'm thinking I'm going to get home, do what we need to do, and celebrate Christmas. And for us, it was a gift. Honestly, it was a gift. It didn't work out that way, and we're all changed from it.
Christian himself, you know, we dropped them off, and he was like, you know, he doesn't feel like he's ever going to be the same.
Yeah.
Like, how did it change you?
It's a truly life-changing experience, and I'm glad we went through it.
Julie and I both know that we would have been two more of the victims of this storm. These two saved us. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know, God, why would we be saved and everybody else die?
So thank you, Christian and Kyrstin. Kyrstin, for seeing those beautiful blue eyes, as you said, that kept you wanting to save her and her husband. I could only imagine if I was in that situation, overwhelming amount of fear, and to have somebody to think clearly enough to get out of the vehicle into safety, really helped them in that moment. Just do what you can when you can.
Yes,
Again, guys, thank you so much for your time today. And it's so wonderful to see you guys on New Year's Day celebrating together as, like you said, a great big group of family.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was wonderful.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year, Jordan.